If you think the Lakers are fun to watch now, just wait for the offseason. USC has a new hobby, rug pulling Oregon for football recruits. And a former ESPN scribe once again bores society with a Clippers trade that didn't happen. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is March 30th, 2026. Welcome back to the show. Still on the road in Michigan. But we're going to start the week off right by talking about the majesty of Los Angeles. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Clippers 127, Milwaukee 113. Benedict Mathurin scored 28. Meanwhile, today, Cleveland is at the Dodgers at 7. Cover your eyes. Roki Sasaki debuts tonight. He's going to face Parker Messick. Meanwhile, Washington's at the Lakers at 7. Luka Doncic is suspended for tonight's game. That's the result of 16 technical fouls accumulated during the course of the year. Meanwhile, the Lakers have 8 games to go in the regular season and a 1.5 game lead over Denver for the third spot in the Western Conference playoff picture. So with that out of the way, what do you say we get to the news? And we'll stick with the Lakers, because they're arguably going to be the biggest mover slash shaker this upcoming offseason. The Clippers were supposed to have a ton of cap space. That's not going to be the case after all the trades that they made at the deadline. The younger players that they acquired, that is their future. Now, it's not to say that the Clips couldn't add a rotation player, but unless they move on from Kawhi Leonard in some way, what you see is what you're going to get. Meanwhile, with the Lakers, according to Sporttrack.com, the Lakers should have the second most cap space in the NBA this offseason at 48 mil. Chicago's going to have way more, probably at 63 mil. But if you're a free agent, would you rather play for Chicago or would you rather play alongside Luka Doncic? Exactly. In order for the Lakers to get that much space, though, they'll have to either trade LeBron James or let him walk. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. That would also include minus Austin Reeves' cap hold and DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart opting into their contracts. After all that, $48 million to go. We're operating on the assumption that Reeves is staying, by the way. If he does, he and Doncic will account for more than half the Laker payroll. Now that brings us back to James, and it sets up an intriguing question that honestly I think we all know the answer to. Do you think James would accept a pay cut? A massive one at that, like the mid-level exemption? You can pause the clip while you laugh at me. I totally understand. That is not a spoiler alert, nor is it a prediction. But if he wants to get paid solely as a free agent, the only teams with massive amount of cap space are the Lakers, the Bulls, and Brooklyn. That's it. For all this talk about some weepy-eyed curtain call over in Cleveland, the Cavs are over the cap. As much as ESPN wish casts, like they got all the Disney Imagineers to wish upon a star for a magical deal for LeBron to go to Golden State. All the Golden State Warriors have is a mid-level exemption, like the team he's already on. Now, I will grant you, a sign and trade is a possibility, but that would mean the other team has to break up part of its core in order to give the Lakers something that they would want. So the Lakers are in the driver's seat. Don't have anybody try to tell you that LeBron James has clout he doesn't have. Now, how much of this is going to be Rob Pelinka's doing and how much of it is going to be input from the Dodger front office people, I don't know. I don't. But if you look at where the Lakers are now, third in the Western Conference, you're looking at a pretty decent and fun basketball team that can make a potentially scary leap before next year. They have levers to pull. It's going to be curious to see what comes up. Can we all agree it's a beautiful day whenever Oregon gets the finger? Right? Whenever the Ducks are reminded that for all of their bluster, for all of the Nike millions, for all of their goofy uniform combinations, they get reminded that they're not special a lot. And I am here for it every single time. USC flipped offensive tackle recruit Drew Fielder, a 4-star offensive tackle from Servite, who previously committed his eternal allegiance to Oregon. I guess not. He is the 81st ranked overall prospect in the land per 24/7 Sports. He's also the third recruit, the third, that the Trojans have flipped from Oregon in the last 2 years. Most notably, quarterback Jonas Williams. Now, to be fair, right now, Fielder is still a bit of a project. He converted to tackle. He had started as a tight end. Will Fielder actually stay loyal long enough to actually sign? Well, you can't trust the word of a teenager because they're teenagers. But I will say this, Fielder is a USC legacy. 2 of his relatives won a natty for the Trojans back in 1967, and his father graduated from SC with an MBA. Now, after this newbie put on top of the recruiting class, after grading out with the top recruiting class in the nation last year, USC is currently ranked 5th by 24/7 Sports. And meanwhile, Trojans PR is surely willing to go a-trollin'. A couple of years ago, Oregon coach Dan Lanning bragged about all the commitments to the Ducks by saying, quote, "The grass is damn green in Eugene." Now Trojans PR is posting clips of spray painting the grass cardinal red. Or a green stoplight, and the light changes to cardinal, with the message, "Guess the grass wasn't always greener." Now look, I still prefer the bluntness of a middle finger. Right into the old face. But I'll go with what they're doing. I'll go with it. We mentioned earlier the idea of the Clippers bidding adieu to Kawhi Leonard to gain cap space. Now, I would not read too much into what I'm about to discuss with you guys. Because one of the things I absolutely despise about the current state of American sports journalism is breaking news. A trade didn't happen. And the undisputed master of a non-story like that is former ESPN scribe Mark Stein. That's all he ever covers. So-and-so reached out to this team to try to create a blockbuster. Nothing happened. Breaking news. When ESPN downsized, they had a choice. They could either keep an NBA reporter who breaks stories of actual trades, or keep the guy who creates phantom reports of trades that never happened. That's why there's such a thing in social media as a Woj bomb, while Stein begs for subscribers on his Substack. Stein claimed Golden State made a, quote, determined trade run, unquote, at Leonard, and they will again this summer. Now, this totally smacks of ESPN's desperate attempt to wish cast a LeBron James to the Warriors deal 2 years ago. Do you remember that? The only way a Leonard deal happens, in my opinion, is if the Clippers get gobsmacked with sanctions for trying to circumvent the NBA salary cap to pay Leonard in the first place. And in case you hadn't noticed, the NBA is behaving like they would just prefer this story to fizzle out and die. So I think Kawhi Leonard is staying. And don't tell me about trades that didn't happen, Mark. Yes, I'm a bitter curmudgeon. Wouldn't you be? Look where I am now, right? But I try to look for the daisies that sprout amidst the piles of manure in everyday life. There is good news for USC basketball, which sure as hell needs a little bit of a pick-me-up after ending the season on an 8-game losing streak. The Trojans currently have the 7th-ranked recruiting basketball class for 2026, according to 24/7 Sports. The bad news is that's only good enough for the 4th best class in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is ballin'. As if having 2 teams in the Final Four wasn't proof enough, right? If you want a glimpse, though, into the future of Trojans basketball, the McDonald's All-American game takes place at 6 p.m. Tuesday on ESPN. Now, the All-Americans held a practice Saturday. The Trojans recruit that drew eyes most was Darius Ratliff as a lockdown interior defender. In a related story, UCLA's Mick Cronin is still headed to the ATM, looking for that additional $5 million for the transfer portal. The Dodgers have opened at 3-0. We've been pretty happy about that. Here's a surprising additional bright spot for the Dodgers. Now, I'm going to be fair and say this sample size is kind of small. It's only 11 2/3 innings, but the bullpen has yet to allow a run. That is cool. Matter of fact, they've only allowed 5 base hits. This is the same bullpen that was almost completely subbed out for the postseason last year, and the Dodgers just threw in additional starting pitchers. Anybody who could figure out how to get a ball over a plate. Well, that's not the case. Even Tanner Scott, who did not make the playoff roster last year and lost his closer job, lost his reputation in the process. He's pitched 1 1/3 shutout innings. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about what you think the Lakers could be up to in the offseason. For that matter, how stoked are you that USC keeps punking Oregon? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Portel Queso production. Take care.